Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Only the Greatest Podcast. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, the Apple Podcast platform, whatever it is you want to use. Give us a 5-star rating review. Tell us how much you love the show. Tell us how great we are. Send it to all your friends and put the time in. Bam!
Is that how we're starting?
This one's called Gotta Put the Time In.
Well, all right.
I don't care if he clips that in there.
No, I think this should be part of it.
Bam!
I like the bam.
Phil, I can't help but notice that you got tattooed recently.
What do you think? I forgot.
So for y'all that you can't see
that right there, and my massive shoulder here.
That's Patrick, not the Krusty Krab. Is this the Krusty Krab? No, this is Patrick.
And we were trying to recall where this episode is from. I hate admitting this, but I can't figure it out. Because I thought it was wearing like a cowboy hat, but Denver said it was more of an Amish hat.
Denver doesn't know.
So
she don't know.
Do you know?
I don't really remember the he's wearing like a barrel.
Yeah, he has a barrel on.
We'll figure it out. Anyway.
Yeah.
You know what?
It's pretty hardcore though. This is real.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I bet it was painful.
I had a lot of chair time.
So look, man. If we had put the time in to figure out what episode this was from, we would know. But we didn't put the time in.
We didn't put the time in.
I could find it in about 10 seconds on this little device right here that's in my hand. But we decided not to.
Yeah, we didn't put the time in. But
dude, it's good to be back.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Well, you know, we've had a lot. There's been some personal life stuff going on.
Yeah, with you guys,
with us. And then the gym's just thankfully been busy.
Yeah, it has, which is a good thing.
A good thing. And combined with the gym itself being busy, our training schedules, our work schedules, and what Jessica and I have going on in our personal lives right now with some family health issues, it's been quite the struggle to get in here. But no excuses. We're back in the saddle, and we always have ideas, right? And we're just like, oh yeah, hey, we need to sit down and record it. And when we have time, we usually go once a week and we'll record it, but we just haven't really had the time lately. But
yeah, it's usually on Fridays, but I've had to be at the gym later on Fridays recently. So,
and we've been up at the hospital and everything. Right. So anyway, this one's called Gotta Put the Time In. And this is the story of how a handyman
changed my life.
Really?
Well, kind of, yeah. It opened a perspective.
Yeah,
me.
He basically put a major life lesson into perspective with like a single sentence, you know, or like a single
statement.
A single statement.
Yeah. And so I'll just tell the whole story real quick.
We're going to let Phil tell the story about the leaking sink and the handyman. What was his name?
I don't know his name, but he's been to my
shout out handyman guy.
I rent a townhouse where I live. I rent. I'm a huge fan. So I don't know. Everybody's renting is wasting money. I'm going to plug right now that I disagree. I'm just going to let you know.
I think you can argue either way.
You could argue either way, but
maybe we'll do a show on that here.
We could talk about that.
We'll debate it a little bit.
I personally enjoy renting where I live, but anyways, the point is this guy has come and fixed a few things that I didn't pay for because I rent. Let me mention that. But comes to my house. I've had a leaking sink for a while. Reached out to the guy.
Dripping underneath.
Yeah, dripping underneath the sink. I noticed it, so I put a bowl under a big one because it's not super bad, but I probably empty it like once a week.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Drip.
Yeah, a little drip. And so I talked to the owner, the guy, the landlord, and told him about it. He's like, yeah, I'll get somebody out there. And I guess he forgot.
All right.
He probably has a lot going on. He forgot. It wasn't a big deal. I made sure that there was no damage, kept it dry. Right. When I discovered it, put a fan and everything.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I followed up probably it's probably been like 2 months later. Because I kind of forgot too. I just kind of do it. You get into the routine of it. It's not a big deal. But anyways, so I was like, hey, just a reminder that, I still have this sink leak.
That's kind of a
tongue twister. But anyways, yeah.
Brain buster.
He's like, I'll have somebody out there tomorrow. And so
he did.
The handyman comes over and I was like, hey man, thanks for coming by. Here's what's going on. I show it to him and everything. And he has a single wrench with him. And I'm like, man, he needs more tools for this. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking, right? I didn't say that. But he walks over, he turns it on, he looks underneath, and he pulled, so like there's extendable heads, right? You can pull it out and like wash around your sink or whatever, and he twists it a couple times, puts it back in place. There you go, man. I was like, wait, the leak's underneath. That's what I told him. I was like, hey man, like, the leak is underneath, it's leaking underneath. And he was like, yeah, I know, but that's where the water is, but the leak is up here.
It was originating up here and dripping down.
It was originating at the head of the faucet.
Good old gravity.
Yeah, and leaking down the hose. It was running down the hose and then leaking underneath. And he was like, I've seen this before. And I just tightened it up. And he turns it on. He's like, look, underneath, it's not dripping anymore. And I was like, and so I apologized. Like, dude, I'm sorry you had to come out here for something so simple. I could have just fixed that myself. He's like, no. Don't worry. You probably have things at your job that you're really good at. Well, I've been doing this for a long time and I'm really good at this.
Yeah. I've been doing this for 25 years. Was it 25 or 30 years?
I forget what he said. Yeah, he said, like, I've been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah, for 30 years, and I'm really good at it.
And I'm really good at it.
Basically, there's a couple different takeaways here.
And I was just completely like,
oh, wow.
Oh, shit. Like, this guy just blew my mind. Because and the way that he did it, too, because he was like, he told me, he's like, you probably have things that you're good at your job.
Yeah, and you do.
And I was like, yeah, you're right. And he was like, well,
this is my job.
I've been doing this for 30 years, and this is my job.
And I'm good at it.
Right.
Right.
And I was like,
a couple different takeaways here. So first and foremost, I think what Phil, and we briefly discussed this before, I think what you took away immediately was that you got to put the time in.
Yeah.
This guy has been doing it for 30 years. He's put his time in. He's good at it. He knows he's good at it. The guy shows up with one wrench.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to fix this with one wrench.
He knew.
Right.
Yeah.
So he knew what was going on. So he's good at it. He's put the time in. And especially in the world we live in today, the world of everything's instant, the world of there's a YouTube video on everything, which is very helpful and which is super convenient.
Right.
And I think that everybody should try to learn different things, or, on the internet. But the point is, everything happens instantly, and people try something once, maybe twice, or they spend a very short amount of time, and they expect to be as good as the best person on Instagram or the best person on YouTube who's doing XYZ thing.
Yep.
Whatever the thing is, they're really good at it. They very, very likely put the time in and the practice and the hours and the weeks and the days, months, years, and got good at it and really refined it, really tweaked it. And so when you put it into your perspective, your job is personal training. You operate the business, but the core of it is personal training. That's what you actually do within your company that you own, within your business that you own. You've been doing that for a long time. You've trained yourself for many, many, many years. And then how many years ago did you start training people?
Man, it's been over 7 years.
Over 7 years, you've started training other people. And before that, you were training yourself and people like me, your friends.
Right.
Not like he wasn't charging us anything, but he's like, hey man, we'd go to the gym and he'd tweak and hey, this is what you should do. Meal plan, this is what macros you should eat. And slowly turn into actually a trade.
Acquiring clientele.
Clientele. So if you add it all up, it's been over 10 years.
10, yeah.
Because you were around 18.
19.
18, 19 when you started, when you wanted to lose weight, you want to get in better shape. So it's been over 10 years you've been doing this thing and you're good at it. And that handyman, he probably wouldn't be a good personal trainer. I don't know him.
Probably not.
He probably wouldn't be a good personal trainer.
But he's amazing at what he does.
That's his thing.
And I'm not a good handyman.
Right. And
you're at all.
So you've trained people. He's a handyman. And guess what? He fixed the leak and you fix people's physiques. Leaks and physiques. That's what it's called. We're changing the name. Leaks and physiques.
Leaks and physiques. I love it.
So anyhow, that the first takeaway is you got to put the time in. If you really, truly want to be good at something, you're going to have to put the time in to basically refine those skills.
I think a big part of putting the time in as well is learning how to mess up, messing up and overcoming it. Right. So whether it's like I talk to clients about this all the time, but working out is when it comes to like weight loss and changing your physique, working out a lot of times is the easier part. It's the eating, right? It's the eating part that people struggle with. So what I tell people
to this
is,
day, I'll go train every single day.
yeah, but it's the eating part.
It's the eating part.
Yeah, so you have to learn how to mess up on your diet and then recover.
And then immediately bounce back.
Same thing like in business. You have to learn how to go through hard times and break through and figure it out.
Right.
Because, on this subject, something that happened to me recently, someone told me, oh man, it must be easy because like you don't understand because you have clients that you have new clients that just come in and sign up and you don't even have to do anything. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute here. That's not the case. You're bypassing and you're overlooking the 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. The 7 years of actually doing it, the 10 years of total time, the 4 years of working 80, 90 hours a week going, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And acquiring customers. And then the 2.5 years of zero income.
Right.
To get to this position, right? So it takes time,
right,
to get through these things and learn how to mess up and come over hard things. Build your every time you mess up and you overcome it, you build a little bit more confidence in yourself.
That's a deposit in the bank account.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the deposit in your. It's all deposits and withdrawals.
Yeah,
and that's a deposit into your professional account, I guess you could say.
Yeah, there you go. Or even just like into your mental, your mental belief in yourself.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's an even better way to look at it. But yeah, your confidence in yourself, that's a deposit, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, when you mess up, that's gonna be a withdrawal, right? In the beginning. And then when you overcome it and you figure it out and you come back better, that's when you deposit way more, right?
Yeah. The deposit is bigger than the withdrawal.
Right.
Yeah. So it's building up.
So, people, everybody's impatient, myself included. I'm very impatient, man. Mm-hmm. And, I try something one time and I'm like, oh, I'm not good at this. And, I'm comparing myself to the guy who's been doing it for 10, 20, 30 years, whatever it is. And, like even me from a perspective, I'm somebody who's working on, my main thing that I'm doing in life for future purposes, building a real estate portfolio. Yeah. And I look around. Now I'm 31. I'm 31 years old now. My birthday was the other day.
Rough.
All right, I got to take my hat off.
Yeah. Moment of silence.
Anyway, okay. So I'm 31, and I have a pretty. I would consider myself still a small time real estate investor. I think that's fair. And I look around, and there's people with huge portfolios,
and they're probably in their 40s and
they're
50s,
probably most of them are a lot older than I am. Most of them, and I'm not taking anything away, but they probably started out with more money than I started out with, whether it be, they had private money.
How many of them drove the same vehicles that you did?
Dude, I mean,
not to change the subject or anything, but.
Yeah,
we should get a photo. Send the photo of all the vehicles to Sean, and let's just scroll them across the screen right now.
I wonder if I can find pictures of all of those. Some of them might be like some hard copies, like some what are the disposable cameras you buy. But driving really shitty cars, starting out with absolutely nothing, and except for confidence in myself. Right. That's all I had, and that's not taken away, dude. I would have loved to been able to have a family member that was willing to give me some money to start with, and I would likely be further along. The fact is I wasn't dealt that hand.
The point is that because they always say never compare. And I don't think I'm a fan of that advice. Like you have to compare yourself to give yourself an idea of where you're at, but make sure you're comparing to the right things. Right. You don't want to compare.
Make sure you're comparing apples to apples.
Yeah, there you go.
Because if I look at my real estate portfolio compared to the next guy my age with the same, coming from the same background, I'm going to go, okay, yeah. But if I look at Grant Cardone on his jet, I'm going to be like, oh, well, I suck.
Yeah. Right?
So you're not comparing. How old is Grant Cardone? 60?
In his 60s, like 65, I think.
He's double my age. Yeah. Like I'm 31, he's in his 60s, and the guy is mad, crazy, rich and successful, but he's had a lot more time. Right. And I fully plan on being there or achieving my ultimate dream by the time I'm his age or even sooner.
Even in fitness, like someone that's been at it for 1 year can't compare themselves to someone that's been at it for 10, and the person that's been at it for 10 can't compare to the person that's been at it for 30.
Yeah. Because those people have put the time in to be there.
They're not equal comparisons in business. You can't compare the business that's been open for 2 years to one that's been open for 10.
Right. And I'm gonna 1,000% agree. Put the time in.
Yeah.
And if you want to get good at something, put the time in. But if you don't want to get good at something, don't put any time.
Oh
there.
yeah, just avoid. And that's where or go ahead. Sorry if you have a point, but
I have a point.
Okay, go ahead.
Don't put any of your time there. Focus it on the stuff that you do want to be good at, because then you're wasting that time. Time is by far your most valuable asset that you have, which leads me to my next point. So when you look at the handyman telling you that, what he said, hey, I'm good at my job, you're good at yours. You go, bam, this guy, we're putting time in, right? I see that. And my brain also goes, okay, so you have to realize that you're not going to be good or great at everything. You're going to have to trust somebody else who's a true professional at whatever it is that they do at some point in your life, because yeah, let's face it, you might not want to spend the money on it, but they're better at it than you are, whatever it is whatever service you're buying or product you're buying, right? Because there's a lot of people that are, it's all about the money, right? They don't want to spend the money.
Right.
Like think about when you were trying to learn marketing. Did you spend a lot of money?
Yeah.
Yeah, you spent a whole lot of money because there was people that were way better at marketing than you. You could have just tried. You could have just started trying to do your own marketing and probably wasted a lot more time and a lot more money in the long run doing your own marketing, which you have done your own, but learning your own marketing, right? That's just one example.
Right.
But let's face it, there's people that are true professionals out there that you likely need to pay for their service or their product. And it's not always the case. You got to handle it on a case-by-case basis. But I'm saying so you saw, hey, this guy put the time in and so did I. I like that. I appreciate that. I agree with it. And I saw, hey, there's going to be some times where you're going to have to pay somebody, like the landlord likely could have fixed that sink himself. Yeah. But he's got other stuff. His time's allocated over here.
Yep. Somewhere else.
He pays the handyman to go fix the sink. Probably charged him. I don't know what he charged him. I don't care what he charged him. So he could have came over and fixed the sink himself, but he allocated that handyman. So in that situation, it was about his time was more valuable. And other people's situations, it's about, hey, that's not my expertise. That's not my forte. So I'm going to pay this guy or this gal to go do this for me. And you're just going to have to accept that sometimes.
And that was my point as well. If you're not good at something, hire somebody that is good
hire
at
somebody that is good
like,
at it.
I don't work on cars. I don't work on things around the house. I draw my boundaries. If I can fix something with minimal investment of time, I'll fix it. But if I can't, I'm the fastest person to get on the phone to call somebody that knows what's going on.
Depending on the situation, you likely save money that way.
Yeah.
Because
my time's more valuable.
Your time is more valuable. And then like me, there's certain things, with these real estate, with these properties that I have, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And there's certain stuff that I can do. And I sure do love my wife, but she's got a lot of confidence in my abilities and thinks that
I've seen this firsthand.
I can do a lot of things that I can't do. But the point is that there's stuff that I know that if I try to do it, dry sheetrock, if I try to, people say, oh, it's simple, I can do it. That's great. I'm glad that you can. I can't. What's going to happen is I'm going to go in there, I'm going to buy the sheetrock, I'm going to try to hang it, I'm going to try to tape it and float it. It's going to be shitty. Then I'm going to call up Luis
to have to come fix it.
My guy who does all the renovations. He's awesome, by the way. And I'm going to have to pay him to rip out what I did. And he's going to go buy new sheetrock and install
and do it all over
And I'm
again.
going to have paid double because...
Plus you lost your initial time.
Yeah, plus I lost my time, whatever that's worth, which is pretty decent. And now here I am back to square one. So there's certain things that you just need to pay for from the get-go. Yep. I would have saved so much money if I'd just let him do it. So now I know what those boundaries are. We're not going to go into all that.
Yeah, and sometimes you do have to learn. Like you can't just. It's not as easy as it sounds.
Case by case basis.
Yeah, it's not as easy as it sounds.
Case by case basis. So couple takeaways. We can go ahead and wrap this up, Phil, unless you got some other major points to make.
That was my last point. Was don't be afraid to call on the expert when
don't be afraid to call
the time
on the expert,
is right.
You know? So if you truly do want to be good at something, you're going to have to put the time in no matter what it is. And you got to make sure, I think comparison is healthy, like you were saying, but you got to compare apples to apples. If I compare my portfolio to Grant Cardone, I'm going to feel like a loser.
Trash.
If I'm going to compare it to the other 31-year-old guy at work or in the area who's started out with nothing. I'm going to be like, okay,
we're in a good spot.
We're in a good spot.
Yeah.
Likely. And also second point, I'm going to piggyback on that a little bit. So, make sure you put the time in, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first point. And the second part of that is if you don't want to be good at that thing,
mm-hmm.
don't spend
worry
the time.
about it.
Don't put the time in.
Right.
If you don't want to be good at that thing, right? Because then I'm going to use the bridges analysis. I think I heard analogy. I heard this on a Bigger Pockets. So they talk about how let's just pretend that you're born on an island and the goal is to get to the mainland. That's your ultimate goal for life, whatever it is,
mm-hmm.
whether you want to be a billionaire, whether you want to live out in the woods with your wife and your dogs off the grid, whatever your goal is, that's the mainland, right?
Okay.
So you're on the island. The mainland is whatever your goal is. And all you need is one bridge to get you over to the mainland, right?
Okay.
And so people will start building that bridge and then they get distracted and they see these people building their bridge a certain way and they go, oh, I'm gonna try to build that bridge. And then they see these people and then they get this idea on the internet. They get this guy on the internet that says this is the way to build a bridge. And then they get this girl over here who said she built her bridge this way. And then there's this 18-year-old who already has a bridge, who was born with a bridge that said his parents got the bridge this way. Next thing you know, you got 8 bridges a quarter of the way done. And if you would have stayed on that one bridge, then you could have made it all the way to the mainland. You could have built it all the way to the mainland, right? And then you come back and forth as you please and maybe start another one, right? Maybe start another one. And then that can be, you can look at that as multiple streams of income, whatever it is that you decide to do.
That's really, in the entrepreneurship world or real estate investing world, that makes a lot it makes a lot of sense in everywhere, but I can really see, because you've heard of the shiny object syndrome.
Yeah. So the point is, put the time in on that bridge.
Yeah.
Handyman
bridge.
Handyman put the time in. Obviously, he's made a living.
Mm-hmm.
He put the time in on his bridge. His bridge is being a handyman, and he might have some other stuff. I don't know. Phil's is fitness, right? Personal training, operating a business. Mine right now is my professional career in the oil and gas industry, along with my real estate portfolio. Those are the 2 bridges that I'm using to build each other.
Mm-hmm.
And, and everybody has their own cup of tea. If you don't want to be good at that, if you don't want to build your bridge that way, don't do it.
Yeah, don't waste your time building the wrong kind of bridge.
Right.
Yeah,
and then second point, second takeaway, don't be afraid to hire the professional. Know that there is somebody out there who has put that time in to build that bridge. Pay them to do it.
They've already built their bridge,
Pay them to do it.
I'm with it.
And you don't burn up a lot of time. You don't burn up as much resources, money, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And everything goes a lot smoother. If you're Daryl, don't try to hang sheetrock.
I don't fix sinks. I don't work on cars.
Leaks and physiques, baby. All right.
I love that.
Leaks and physiques. All right, y'all. So the takeaways, once again, put the time in.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put the time in if you don't want to be good at it. And don't be afraid to hire their professional, because there are people out there who are better at it than you. I don't care what you're doing. There's people that are better at it than you. That's it. It was good to be back, dude.
It does feel good.
And don't be surprised if we're wearing the same clothes on the next episode, because I got a 1 or 2 more I want to record right now, right here.
All right. Well, we're about to do it. We'll end this one right here.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Only the Greatest Podcast. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, the Apple Podcast platform, whatever it is you want to use. Give us a 5-star rating review. Tell us how much you love the show. Tell us how great we are. Send it to all your friends, and put time in.
We should really do that at the beginning.
Leaks and physiques. Maybe Sean can do a and move that clip to the beginning. Bam!
Is that how we're starting?
This one's called Gotta Put the Time In.
Well, all right.
I don't care if he clips that in there.
Now I think this should be part of it.